So hello everyone and wish you all a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all in today's brainwave session with Dr. Baljeet Kaur. But I would like to begin with a quote. Nothing great will be achieved without great men, and men are only great if they are determined to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, with this quote, I'd like to say that with the guidance of our Honorable Chancellor, Dr. P.D. Patil sir, and our Pro-Chancellor, Dr. Mrs. Bhagyashree Patil ma'am, our Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Sir Dr. N.J. Pawar, we have been able to build this magnificent organization, and it is their philanthropy and vision that inspires us to bring you all this quality education for the young minds. You are the future. You are the managers of tomorrow. Well, with this, I'd also like to mention that our Honorable Trustee, the Executive Director of our Institute, Dr. Mrs. Smita Zadav, has always been a source of motivation, and she, being a go-getter and a dynamic personality herself, has always pushed us to do better for you guys and make sure that we bring amazing sessions like this from the industry professionals. Well, it's never too late to become who you want to be, and every moment is a fresh beginning. And with this, I'd like to welcome our director, Safia Farooqui ma'am as well. Ma'am, could you please introduce the guests for today?
Thank you, Suhail. A very good morning to all of you. It gives me immense pleasure to extend to you all a very warm greetings. And it is my honor and privilege to welcome Dr. Baljeet Kaur Madam for our Brainwave series. The main objective of this webinar series is to enhance the knowledge and exposure of our students to real-world life experiences through the rich and varied experience of the speakers. And without taking much time, I warmly welcome our renowned speaker, Dr. Baljeet Kaur Madam, who, in spite of her busy schedule, has accepted our request and is here with us to share her valuable experiences and thoughts. Thank you, Madam, and welcome to DPU Center for Online Learning.
Thank you, ma'am. It is an honor for me. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to present my experience and whatever I have with me in front of these young minds of the DPU, the renowned University of India. So it is my privilege, ma'am. I would like to thank the university authorities also, even the Chancellor, Dr. P.D. Patil sir, the Pro-Chancellor, Dr. Bhagyashree Patil, the Vice Chancellor, Dr. N.J. Pawar, and I would like to congratulate the Executive Director, Dr. Smita Jadhav Madam, and the Ma'am, Dr. Safia Farooqui, for introducing these kind of sessions like Brainwave series, where the young minds and the learners get an opportunity to get to know about so many new things at us one platform. So it is my privilege to be part of this session. Thank you, ma'am, for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Farooqui. Thank you so much, Dr. Baljeet Kaur. Well, for the learners, I'd like to actually, ma'am, introduce you in a few words as well. Well, Dr. Baljeet Kaur is currently working as an assistant professor with Symbiosis. She has more than 19 years of experience, academic experience, pre and post PhD in research, innovation, and teaching at undergrad and postgraduate levels across different universities. She's a very keen researcher in interdisciplinary domain, and her keen interest lies in machine learning, graphic databases, information security, and wireless networks. Well, ma'am has contributed greatly to various technical topics in guest lectures from within India and abroad as well, like big data analytics, cybersecurity, mobile computing, graphic database, etc. She has published more than 20 quality research papers in various national and international conferences and journals. Now, some of these papers are also listed in Scopus as well. She has published 2 patents in her name. So you have somebody over here who has immense experience in the given subject today. So, ma'am, I'd like you to now start the session.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Suhail, sir, for such a nice introduction. Thank you for coordination of this event also. So thank you. So I think I can start now, sir. Yeah. So with this note, very good morning, everyone. I'm welcome.
Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
Yeah. Welcome to all the students, faculty, and the dignitaries, those who are present for this session. And the topic is very relevant for today's time, like because we are living in the edge of data. Fine. So data is whenever we say that the earlier days, the fuel prices were hiking up. So, but nowadays, if I say what is the fuel for today's businesses, it is not the petrol or diesel, it is something called data. And we are going to talk about data science today. So if we say data is the fuel for today's businesses, I can say that data science is the engine which drive this data to some beautiful insights that drive that fuel the businesses, right? So during this pandemic time, that most of the organizations, all the businesses, not only businesses, even I say that our lives also get impacted, and we started adopted digitization. The people who were resistant to adopt digitization, they started using technologies, and they started using database applications like everyone, even a small vendor, even a small enterprise started their business through the online platform. Now, when everyone has this, and during this pandemic, fine, different businesses, not only small scale businesses, but the large organizations understood the potential of artificial intelligence and the data science, fine. So they started using the application, and they started using data science for the actionable insights that can be provided with the help of machine learning, artificial intelligence, big data. I think these are now the buzzwords for today, and they all together work. And I cannot say that these are all different technologies. Artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning, big data, they all work together to provide a better insights for a business. I will say they are the different components of a machine which work together and give us the beautiful insights for the business. So in today's session, we are going to understand about what is data science, fine, why it is very much required for the businesses, why we are talking in last 5 to 10 years about importance of data science for the businesses, and what are the various application domain of data science, and now what would be the trends in the data science for the next 5 to 10 years. So with this agenda, we'll be starting. Let me share my presentation with you. So data drives the businesses, either they are small or either they are big. So they provide innovations to the businesses, and with the help of data, fine, as a fuel, we can use data science as an engine which can give us the beautiful insights. So with the today's agenda, we will be discussing these topics. And as I shared with you, what is data science, definition of data science, life cycle of data science, why businesses require data science at all, and what are the various applications of the data science, and what are the top trends in the data science. Fine, as you know that artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science, they all collaborate together. If you see this diagram, fine, the artificial intelligence itself encompasses machine learning, data science, big data, and the deep learning. When we talk about the definition of the big data, so by Harvard Business Review, fine, data scientist is a profile, is most demanding profile of 21st century. And it is the interdisciplinary domain which not only works with scientific method, but with the processes, algorithms, and system for extracting knowledge and insights from not only from the structured data, but from the unstructured data. So here, learners, you must be clear about what is unstructured and unstructured data. Till 1990s, we were dealing with the structured data, schema-based data, like relational database management systems. But now, as the big data, the concept is growing, fine, we are using variety of data. So there are 3 V's of big data: volume, variety, and velocity. I hope you are familiar with that. And when we are saying variety of the data, so it is extremely different types of data, like no schema based data, I can say, is nowadays used by the different applications, web applications. Now, to deal with this so much vast data, we need the smart algorithms, not a traditional application algorithms which were used earlier days in the traditional programming. So data science is not using traditional approaches of understanding the patterns. Here we are using smart algorithms which can work on the huge databases. So the data science and the artificial intelligence, they are designed to work on the huge databases with the smart algorithms. So working on large volumes of data with the various types of the data, fine, I can, for example, there are so many financial logs generated by the banks, even the sensors from the Sensex is available, different text files, social media, graphical files, media files are there. So it is wise to consider the data science to get the insights of the data. If we talk about the various application domains where data science is applied, so you can look around yourself and you can see that you are the part of those applications. If we talk about the banking applications, the fraud detection and the risk management nowadays in the banks are done with the help of data science. They identify the fraudster ring by using the concepts like who are the people which are forging the, you can say, the details of the different peoples and trying to create fake accounts in the bank. Even for the manufacturing industry, you can identify that what are the products which and how the supply chain management can be managed with the help of the data science. Even in the, if we talk about automation and decision making, even the credit cards, when you are applying, fine, when you are applying for a credit card, you are getting a message that this is your credit score. How your credit score is generated? If you can you give me an example like policybazaar.com, fine, and the moneycontrol.com? These kind of websites, they provide, fine, they like what is your credit score, for how much loan you can take in today's time without knowing you. So they are what actually they are doing, they are making use of artificial intelligence and data science to get the details of the customer from the various data sources. See here, what is important, that how to retrieve information from the multiple resources where the resources are scattered. Fine. When I am talking about banking applications, they are schema-based applications. But when I am talking about social media, they are following no schema-based architecture, where they are following no SQL databases, or I can say unstructured databases. So here, when the different applications domain are different, fine, the requirements are different. So data science is a platform which helps you to integrate the data from multiple resources and apply smart algorithms. Like the algorithms could be from different types. I believe that you know about the different types of learning environments in data science, like supervised learning environment, unsupervised learning environment, and reinforcement learning environment. So using these different techniques on the different data, we can get the beautiful insights. Even the recommendation systems that are running nowadays, right, they are based on the data science and the machine learning. Even I hope you are watching different web series on the either Amazon Prime or maybe on the Netflix. And every one of you have experienced the recommendation that are based on your personal profiling. based on your what you have watched in last 1 week or maybe in last 1 month. And if there are multiple family members which are using Netflix, you might have observed that every person has a different profile, and according to your profiles you are getting recommendations. This is nothing but the application of data science, where you are getting context based decisions, context based recommendations. So do you agree that whatever you are getting on as a recommendation is as per your requirement, as per your liking? It means web is observing you, web is following you, web is maintaining a database for you. Somewhere they are restoring the information and using this information to give you the better services as a customer. So with this, we will be starting with the different trends which are following the data science. So let us start with the very first trend. Fine. We know that the businesses are growing, businesses are becoming big. The data generated by each of the business has been, I can say, tremendous. So the very first trend that I would be talking about is cloud-based AI and data solutions. Fine. Now, I can say that data is already being generated in large quantities. Fine. Before I say the data is being generated in the large quantities, have you ever been observed that what is the size of data which is generated at a moment? So let me take you to a site. It is internetlivestats.com. You can also try this site at your end. I'll type the address of this site at your chat box. Let me share the screen once again. I hope users can see this internet live stats. Is it visible? I have typed this in the chat box. So panelist and host, please, you can pass it to the students.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. And I think the slide is visible, the internet resource.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can see.
Yeah, thank you so much. And here you can see that where it is very difficult to quantify that how much data is generated, because over the web, when you see some reference, they might be talking about that the data that is being generated today is something which has not been generated in the universe till now. Fine, but here you can see that how quickly you can see that how many internet user right now with all of us together are there in the world, how many total number of websites are there, and how many websites are being created, how many emails are being sent. Here you can use how many people are searching on Google. Fine. Even you can see that how many people are using the services on Twitter. Even you can see that how many people are watching YouTube. Fine. You can find the number of users. It is a very renowned resource. It is being used by NASA, even BBC also, for looking at the statistics about the number of internet users. Right? So this is a very well-known resource. So I will recommend you to you can go into internetlivestats.com, and so many other statistics are available, and you can just see that how the number of users has been changing and growing enormously, and see that how many users are there, and obviously every user is contributing into generating some data. No doubt it is not possible for the enterprises or the businesses to maintain so many users on their infrastructure. So they are moving to cloud domain. Fine. So the very first trend that is moving nowadays. Even the small organizations are also going for the cloud services, because the small organizations are capable of reaching the business throughout wherever, anywhere in the world nowadays. Fine. So they are also exploring the cloud services. Fine. So let us move back to the presentation. So here what I want to say is that the people are using cloud services at a large domain. So data is already being produced in the large quantities. Although even the it is said that Amazon Web Services, AWS services position at #1 in the world as compared to the competitors in of Azure and Google cloud services. But even Microsoft Azure is also working great in northern part of America. Fine. So the rising cost of adopting artificial intelligence, and if I say deployment of technology for workflow optimization, fine. So there are various reasons, like the cloud provide pay as you use kind of services. So there are various reasons for the organizations to save the cost. They are moving to the cloud-based AI and data solutions. Fine. So the next recent trend that I would talk about is the growth of predictive analytics. Fine. So if I will be predictive analytics, if we talk about, so it is all about predicting the future trends and forecasts with the help of statistical tools. Fine. So with predictive analytics, organization can make beautiful insights and they can help making their decisions. Fine. For example, by analyzing, like if I had given you the example of Netflix. So actually, the Netflix has actually worked on the data of 100 million customers, and they have influenced more than 80% of the viewership on the Netflix by using predictive analytics. See, if you are using predictive analytics and machine learning and you are impacting the viewership of 80% of the customers, it means you are on a right track. Fine. So this is the growth in the predictive analytics and how different businesses are exploring the predictive analytics. Fine. And it has been observed that the growth of predictive analytics by 2025 has to be 21.5 billion USD dollars. And the increase that is being observed is it is at the rate of 24.5%. With that much increase in the growth rate, fine, because businesses are actually using it. And I hope you are knowing Mr. Satya Nadella, fine, and he is CEO of Microsoft. And what he has said about predictive analytics is that, so we are seeing 2 years of digital transformations just in 2 months. So whatever is possible in 2 years, with the help of predictive analytics, we can achieve those targets just in 2 months. That is the speed of growth the businesses are getting with the help of predictive analytics. So, dear learners, when we talk about, excuse me, I'm having a bad throat today. So if we are talking about smart AI applications, we are talking about like the data of users are being used by the organizations, like a banking applications might be somewhere storing my data, which applications I am using, which products I am purchasing, where I am using my credit card, at which places I am using it. But somewhere they are violating the privacy rule also. And when we are creating a Tesla, Tesla is a very best example which I can give. The Tesla self-driving cars, and they got a lot of criticism, fine, when they talked about that the no-man vehicles can be there. So somewhere Tesla felt that they have won the world in automobiles, because they had no competitors in that. But at the end, they lost the war because they lost the market also because of the ethical issues. So in the following years, the regulatory elements of artificial intelligence, no doubt, machines can always provide or remove human errors in the processes, but they cannot bypass the humans, fine, whenever there are uncertain situations, fine. So governments has to continue with the different issues of legislations, fine, and AI will be the subject for about what are the rules and restrictions should be on the AI based solutions. With this respect, I would like to share a video with you where you will understand about that. No doubt, artificial intelligence and data science will give you solutions which will have better profitable profits for the business, and they will remove human errors. But here we have to look for the ethical issues also. So let me share a video with you. I hope you are able to.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
This is a thought experiment. Let's say at some point in the not-so-distant future, you're barreling down the highway in your self-driving car, and you find yourself boxed in on all sides by other cars. Suddenly, a large, heavy object falls off the truck in front of you. Your car can't stop in time to avoid the collision, so it needs to make a decision. Go straight and hit the object, swerve left into an SUV, or swerve right into a motorcycle. Should it prioritize your safety by hitting the motorcycle, minimize danger to others by not swerving, even if it means hitting the large object and sacrificing your life, or take the middle ground by hitting the SUV, which has a high passenger safety rating? So what should the self-driving car do? If we were driving that boxed-in car in manual mode, whichever way we'd react would be understood as just that, a reaction, not a deliberate decision. It would be an instinctual, panicked move with no forethought or malice. But if a programmer were to instruct the car to make the same move, given conditions it may sense in the future, well, that looks more like premeditated homicide. Now, to be fair, self-driving cars are predicted to dramatically reduce traffic accidents and fatalities by removing human error from the driving equation. Plus, there may be all sorts of other benefits: eased road congestion, decreased harmful emissions, and minimized unproductive and stressful driving time. But accidents can and will still happen, and when they do, their outcomes may be determined months or years in advance by programmers or policymakers. And they'll have some difficult decisions to make. It's tempting to offer up general decision-making principles like minimize harm, but even that quickly leads to morally murky decisions. For example, let's say we have the same initial setup, but now there's a motorcyclist wearing a helmet to your left and another one without a helmet to your right. Which one should your robot car crash into? If you say the biker with the helmet because she's more likely to survive, then aren't you penalizing the responsible motorist? If instead you say the biker without the helmet because he's acting irresponsibly, then you've gone way beyond the initial design principle about minimizing harm, and the robot car is now meting out street justice. The ethical considerations get more complicated here. In both of our scenarios, the underlying design is functioning as a targeting algorithm of sorts. In other words, it's systematically favoring or discriminating against a certain type of object to crash into. And the owners of the target vehicles will suffer the negative consequences of this algorithm through no fault of their own. Our new technologies are opening up many other novel ethical dilemmas. For instance, if you had to choose between a car that would always save as many lives as possible in an accident, or one that would save you at any cost, which would you buy? What happens if the cars start analyzing and factoring in the passengers of the cars and the particulars of their lives? Could it be the case that a random decision is still better than a predetermined one designed to minimize harm? And who should be making all of these decisions anyhow? Programmers? Companies? Governments? Reality may not play out exactly like our thought experiments, But that's not the point. They're designed to isolate and stress test our intuitions on ethics, just like science experiments do for the physical world. Spotting these moral hairpin turns now will help us maneuver the unfamiliar road of technology ethics and allow us to cruise confidently and conscientiously into our brave new future.
I hope this situation has made you clear that how important it is to deal with the ethical issues with the smart technologies. So the smart technologies also come with the payback, where we have to be careful about the ethical issues of the privacy breach of the users, even the decisions that are made at the uncertain and difficult situations, when, as we have seen in this video. Fine. So let me just go back to the presentation. I hope we are able to see the presentation again.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for confirming. So here, as we discussed that, the very first trend is all the applications are moving to the cloud environment because of the low cost infrastructure that is being provided, and 24/7 access anytime, anywhere, anywhere in the world. Fine. So the second thing that we talked about was the more regulations that are required to be handled, right? And the other thing that we talked about, the predictive analytics that is going on. So let us move to the next trend in the data science. So the data-centric AI, fine. So here, when we are talking about the analytics data science, fine. So what is the input? The data. So without right data, fine, building AI systems will be possibly dangerous. Fine, if we are getting some, whatever insights we are getting is based on the data. So it is highly recommended that the right data will give you the right insights. Fine. So the data, authenticity of the data has to be verified when we are using this data. So if I am refer the Gartner report, as well as the report by the Forbes regarding the data science trends in the future, they have also talked about the validity of the data. And when we are talking about the different variety of the data, this data comes from multiple sources. So the sources could be, like if I am talking about any organization, they can have their own data base system, relational database system based on Oracle or maybe MySQL, fine. And they are having their own warehouses to repositories where they store their databases. But as I said, that nowadays, fine, 80% of the data which is generated nowadays is unstructured data, which is generated from the web. Fine, this is unstructured data, which is not following any schema. And when we are getting inputs from this data, so this data is dealing with this data is quite different from the way we deal with the structured data. So the data could be of different varieties and from the multiple locations. So it could be from data warehouses, it could be from your relational database management systems of the companies which are they managing. It could be from the data lakes which are managing different data from the unstructured databases. It is a collection of repository of data from unstructured resources. So when data is coming from multiple resources, how you can get best from the data without you can say redundancy of the data, because many departments in the organization, they are dealing with their own database management system. So when we have to integrate, when we have to get up information from the different multiple departments, fine, rather than just clubbing multiple databases into one will not work, because here we are from the big data, we are again generating another big repository. Fine. So the concept of data fabric is coming, and it will go for a long time, because the concept of data fabric is allowing you to integrate and access your data from multiple resources. Fine. So data fabric listens, learns, and act on the metadata or from multiple resources. Either it is data warehouses, either these are data lakes, either it is your in-premises databases in the organizational relational databases, or either they are cloud-based databases or non-cloud-based databases. Right. So it helps you to integrate, access, and manage the data from multiple resources and provide the best services without redundancy in the data. So it actually improves the trust in and the use of data in the organization between multiple, you can say, department, and it reduces the 70% of the data management task. So within the organization, and even when we talk about the data processing in the life cycle of data science or artificial intelligence, fine. So 80% of the work is done to clean or process the data or to enhance the quality of the data, pre-processing work. Excuse me. So with the help of data fabrics, right, this concept will help you to virtually create a layer between the actual data repositories and your machine learning solution, and this will not create an additional copy of the data, fine, which is done with the when we are doing pre-processing. Fine. So here the data fabric can create a virtual layer, fine, which help you to interface between multiple different resources and the actual data science application. So I'll take time to actually elaborate on this, because this is the new concept which is coming in the market, and there are thousands of terms which are interrelated with the term concept of data fabric. So let me just define this, explain this concept with the help of few terms. So when we talk about different sources of data, fine, I hope my annotations are visible on the screen. So here we can say we can have data from different data warehouses.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and we have data from multiple data lakes. So data warehouses are actually the you can say the repository where we are storing the data from specific applications, and it is more of storing the structured databases, fine, the relational databases, fine. On the other side, the unstructured data repository is data lakes, fine, where your data of NoSQL databases is stored. Here, some of your data could be on cloud, fine. Your data could be on relational database systems, DBMS system, fine. And even nowadays, a new term which is coming is data lake house, fine. So I hope the meaning is clear, the data lake house, fine. So which is considering unstructured databases as well as the structured databases, fine. So what is the role of data fabric here, fine? What is the role of this data fabric here? So when I say all these things like data warehouse, data lakes, clouds, RDBMS, fine, and the data lake houses, they are more about the tools which help you to manage your data, fine. Now, okay, so data fabric is not a tool, but it is a methodology. It is a methodology. Fine. So I can say that data fabric is an architectural approach. Fine. And this architectural approach towards these technologies, fine, so that allow you to break data silos, fine, and it allow the users to access the data, fine. It enable the access of the data, ingestion of the data, integration of the data, sharing of the data across different enterprises, fine, different units of the departments of your organization, but in a governed manner, Fine. So governance of data is very important in the organization. So I can say it is in a governed manner. It allows the access of this data. Fine. And governed matter, regardless of where is the location of data. Fine. Either it is in your premises, either it is on the cloud, or it is on multiple cloud environments also. Got it? So let me just make it more clear to you. Fine. So when we are talking about the data management in the data science process, fine. So first of all, we are looking at the process of accessing the data. Fine. So accessing the data, we just looked at the part. So when we are talking about accessing the data, we talked about the multiple resources like enterprise data warehouses. We talked about data lakes. We also talked about the relational database management systems. And we also talked about that when we are talking about accessing the data about the multiple users, it is not the company data and the data lakes only and the relational database management system managed by the organizations. It may be the multiple applications used by the users. Fine. So I can write here service as a software platform from where different services and different applications, the data of the user can be accessed. Fine. So after accessing the data, the second task is managing the life cycle of this data. Managing the life cycle of this data. Fine, which was not talked earlier. Fine. In the pre-processing task, we were just applying the ETL processing, extraction, transformation, and loading the data in a form which is used in data science for a machine learning algorithm or a data science algorithm as an input. Here, fine, the data fabric, fine, introduces fine a layer where you are managing the life cycle of the data. So when I am saying the life cycle of the data, I can divide this life cycle of data into two parts. One is governance of the data. Fine. Or you can say the privacy of the data. Privacy policy of the data. And the second part is the compliance of the data. Different compliances that has to be addressed by the database management. Fine. So every organization has the governance policy and data policy, like which user can access which part of the data. Fine. So when I am saying about this policy, I can say that it is what is your active metadata of your application, active metadata. Fine. And then you can talk about when I'm talking about the governance. Fine. So you can say the sensitive data should not go out of your organization. So when you are accessing the data in step 1 from multiple resources, fine, here by managing the life cycle of the data, you have to take care that you have to mask the data which should not be given to the user, fine, or which should not be available to the end user. Fine. Or you can say redact. Redact means you have to remove or you have to hide the sensitive data. Fine. So here you are applying all these things before you are giving this data for the final analysis. Fine. So another thing that you have to take care here is RBAC. It is role-based access control. Fine. Like in various applications, what is the role of a user. Fine. Now, based on that, the access has to be provided. So role-based access control should be given. On the other side, when the compliances are being talked about, fine. So the major thing is that we have to follow fine the international information security policies also, like we have to follow GDPR. I hope you are familiar with what is GDPR. It is General Data Protection Regulations, fine. And even in India, we were not having it earlier, but in 2018, the process started. And in 2019, it was passed in the lower assembly. Now it is in the process of publication, fine. So soon we will be getting our PDR for data protection, personal data protection. And that is known as PDPR, fine. And if the businesses are dealing with the healthcare sciences, fine, so they have to follow the HIPAA, fine. All these are the information security regulations that compliances, fine, has to be followed, fine. Ethical practices has to be followed when we are going to apply the data science over the different data which we get from the different resources, fine. Now, when you got the access of the data, and when you are managing the life cycle, you control that what governance policy has to be applied over the data, what are the compliances which has to be observed over the data. The next thing is exposing this, that is the final term in the data fabric, is exposing this data to the users, right? So exposing data to multiple users, fine, on different platforms, fine. So it could be, the users could be business analytics, fine. So there could be a keen data scientist like you, who are trying to explore the data and want to get insights of the data. And there could be different application developer also, fine, those who want to create some smart applications based on this data, right? So application developers also. So when we talk about a business analyst or data scientists, they might be using some business intelligence applications like Tableau or Power BI to apply this and this exposed data to turn into the insights of the data, fine. And even the application development environment, they can use some machine learning algorithms over the data, predictive analytics and machine learning algorithms over the data can be applied. So at all, they can be able to or they will be using some open source technologies, fine, like Python or R environment or Spark, right, to deal with this data to get the better insights, fine. So if I talk about the whole process here, which is now used as a data fabric, is to integrating multiple access environments and managing the life cycle of the data. But here it is taken care that when you are extracting the data, no repository is created. So data fabric is creating a virtual layer for the data science, fine, so that your data from multiple resource will come to this virtual layer and give desired data to the users without. So it's not like that you never need to create a copy, but if there is a very good reason to maintain a copy, so the multiple copies are also created. But a data fabric provides you an option where you don't need to create a repository, and you can use this virtual layer, which is also actually following the governance and the compliances within the organization. So if I will relate this with an example, fine, I can relate it with an example. Suppose you are looking for the hotel booking, fine. If I look at the data sources, fine, what could be the data sources? So if I am going to book for a hotel, fine. So what could be the different data sources? So the data sources could be like the hotel website itself, fine, where the users actually maintain, go and log in and book the hotel rooms, fine. So I can, and they, the data is maintained in their warehouses. So I can say that enterprise data warehouses. And other thing is, fine, if a user is there, so its social media account can give some input, like what is the personality of the person, what is the liking of the person, what kind of things he like in eateries, fine, what lifestyle he is having, fine. And even for that specific user, he might have given some reviews in multiple places. So maybe the customer review data is also available for this user, say customer review data is available, fine. So now this is first step in the data fabric. And if I am talking about the second step, that is management of the data life cycle. Fine. So how I can apply the management over this, this data fabric will be actually acting as this master data management tool. Fine. So here I have to apply governance and policy. Fine. Governance and policy over the data. Fine. So when I'm talking about governance and policy, the user credit card details, like which credit card he used for booking, all these things should be masked here. Fine. So if those kind of details are available in organizational data warehouse, but this should be masked when it is given to the data science. Fine. No? So these are the ethical practices that need to be followed here. So which is ensured with the help of your data fabric, fine. So your details need to be, proper details need to be masked, fine. So like the credit card details can be masked, and then it can be published. This data is published, means it is exposed to the users, fine. So now it is published, and then you can apply, fine. The fourth step would be you apply your application. Suppose this data is given to the application customer application development. So the application development can create a recommender system, right? Now a recommender system can be created on this data, like you looking at a specific user, that what kind of guest services. So if this guest has booked a hotel in, booked a room in this specific hotel, then what kind of guest services can be given to this particular customer, fine. So if you, so with the help of this data fabric, you are personalizing the high quality experiences for the user, fine. And with the, and that too by following the governance and the policies and the compliances of the information security, and following all the ethical practices also, fine. So this is how the data fabric will be there now in the market for a long time, as per the prediction of Gartner as well as by the Forbes. And I hope you understood the concept of data fabric. So let us move to the next part of the presentation. See, like this is the era of automation, fine. Everything is going for automation, fine. So here machine learning and data science, fine, is also going for automation. It has gone are the days when people were spending so much time on the pre-processing of the data. Data scientists were spending time on that, which algorithm should be appropriate, which type of learning is appropriate on analysis of data. Either it will go for supervised learning, it will go for unsupervised learning, or either it will go for the reinforcement learning. Even for the supervised learning or unsupervised learning, should you use regression, should you use logistic regression, or you use naive Bayes theorem, or you use k-means algorithm, or you use random forest. So because there are so many possibilities are there, and you as a data scientist, if the data scientist has to explore for the solution, he has no option other than trying all the solution and then comparing the results of those solution and providing the best solution to the organization. Fine, this is a exhaustive process for a data scientist. Fine, even first part is pre-processing the data and then identifying the right algorithm. Fine. So nowadays a solution is possible with the auto machine learning, fine, or automated AI services by different platforms. So Azure automated machine learning platform is also there, which is cloud-based platform. Fine. Google AutoML is a cloud-based automated machine learning environment developed by the Google. Even I got an opportunity from the IBM to use IBM cloud automated AI services to just create some solutions in a minute. Fine. And automate those solutions. So I would like to share you a glimpse of that. I hope my whole screen is visible to you.
It is, ma'am.
IBM is also providing the cloud auto AI services. Here you can see on the screen. And so it was possible for us to create a project. Let me show you from the beginning. Here, the data which was given by the IBM, it was under the project of project Buildathon, where the faculty members were supposed to create an auto AI solution for the given problem. So the problem given to us was like, if we have the data of the heart disease patients, fine, what are the chances that the person is at high risk, or is he, with the given parameters, he is at low risk? So the data provided was like, what is the age of a person, gender of the person, fine, what is the BMI, what is the cholesterol level, how much time, how many minutes in a week he go for exercise. So all these parameters as an input was given in a CSV file, and and as a faculty we had to apply multiple algorithms and give the best algorithm which can give the high accuracy of result or the predictions with the given input. See here, with the help of auto AI, fine, we could see we within, I can say, without no effort, without writing a single line of code, fine, we could apply this data to multiple algorithms. We were able to compare the output of multiple algorithms in terms of accuracy, and using that accurate solution we were able to create a auto AI solution where the user can give the input online and he can predict that either he is at a high risk or low risk. See, in the country like India, where you can say the medical services are not reachable to each and every person, fine, so these kind of teleservices or artificial intelligence services can be of help, where at least at initial level they can identify that with the given health condition, are they at a risk or not. Fine, so let me just go through this project that we had created. So here you can see that fine. So the data set given is the heart rate disease heart patient data.csv file was given as an input. So CSV is a comma separated variable file. So generally it is counted as a structured data. Fine. If you just go through this file, here you can see the similar kind of data, like what is the average heartbeat of the person, and what is the pulsation rate per how many pulsations are there per day, what is the cholesterol level, what is the BMI of the person, is the person is having heart failure, yes or no. So if the given input data is having is like a training data, where you can, with this given input parameters, you can find out that what our doctor actually do with the experience, that will this person go will has a high tendency for a heart failure, yes or no. So here machine can predict. Fine. So here my target variable is heart failure, yes or no, whether the person is at high risk with the given age, with the given gender information, BMI, cholesterol, and other parameters given. Fine. So what we did actually, we applied the different experiments. Fine. So I would like to show you what were the experiments which were applied over the data. So here you can see the experiments which were applied. So so Auto AI application was created under IBM Watson Studio Service. And here you can see that experiment when it was done. So I would like to show you the pipeline comparison here. And here this pipeline is for multiple algorithms, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 algorithms were applied in parallel over the same data. And here you can see the details of the different pipelines. Fine, 8 pipelines, multiple pipelines which were applied over the data. And here if you look at the output of the algorithm, which are different algorithms which were applied, fine, again the which algorithm should be applied on the data was given by the IBM Watson Studio Auto AI service. Fine. So it analyzes the data, it looks for the nature of the data, and it suggests you that which algorithm you can go for. Fine. And you can opt for you can have a customization also. And here you can see within a minute we got the results about the accuracy. Fine. So here you can say that for the XGB classifier, we got the highest accuracy of 0.873, and the similar, sorry. So the accuracy is achieved for this. And so the classifier or the algorithm which is giving you the highest accuracy was finally deployed for the solution. So here I would like to show you that XGB classifier was actually used for the finally used for the deployment. And if we look for this deployment, fine. So here it will be accepting all these parameters, fine, like age, average heartbeat, BMI, all other parameters. And based on that, it will predict that the person is having the diabetes, heart failure at high risk or not. Fine. So let me show you that how this was done. So here you can see the output of this model was given to a Node-RED application. Now Node-RED application was just an interface to take this model as an input and take the from the interface, take the inputs from the user and predict the output. So here you can see the Node-RED flow editor. I have already opened the window for that. Here you can see the Node-RED flow editor, for which allows you to just you don't need to write the code, you have to just configure the flow of your data. Fine. And here you can just deploy your things. And here you can view the dashboard for this given application. I want to show you this. I hope you are able to see the dashboard of average heartbeats. Say the average heartbeats of the person per minute, you have to give the input. Pulsations per day are say 123. So cholesterol is 23, BMI is say 34. I'm just putting some random values. Suppose it's a male, and the family history is he's not having any family history. So either in the form of yes or no. So everything, this automated environment is also created with this auto AI environment. Fine. So here it is one place solution. What I want to say here is starting from collecting the data, selecting the machine learning model, comparing the results, and creating a user interface for the application and hosting it over the cloud environment was available at one platform, which is the requirement for nowadays solutions. And it would be the trend in future where people or the organizations are not interested in spending time in comparing the results, implementing the solutions where the auto AI solutions are available. They are more interested in looking for the solutions rather than spending more time on the development time of these applications. So family history, suppose here say yes, whether he was a smoker for last 5 years, so say no. And exercise, number of exercise minutes per week is say 2. Fine, if you submit this, fine, so you will get a prediction. This was the earlier prediction, so now it will refresh. And if I just go here, fine, and if I just look at the things, fine, so it will give you the solution. So let us go back to so here the person is not at risk with the given parameters. So the main thing here to be observed is that on such a small environment, fine, you can create a solution, end-to-end solution from right from the beginning till end, where you can just create and read the data, apply the machine, even you get a solution suggestions for the machine learning algorithm that you can apply, and then you can choose for the best model, and then you can create an interface and launch that interface over the web, so that the user can anyone with that link can provide input and get a prediction on that particular problem statement. So if just think of that various applications which can be mapped like this, so how society at a large can get benefited. So the another trend that we discussed today was the auto AI solution, where end-to-end solutions are available at one platform. So let us go back to the presentation. Share the presentation again. Are we able to see the presentation again?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so these are the auto AI solutions that are the next trend for the data science. Fine. The second last trend for this presentation is edge intelligence and the tiny machine learning. Fine. So actually, you might have used voice-based assistants, and I'm very much sure that every one of you must have used these voice commands, or you might have heard someone saying that, "Hey Google," and the command, "Hey Alexa, turn on the lights. Hey Siri, do this." Fine. Even now, nowadays I can see so many smart advertisements on the TV for different business applications where these voice command based control applications are used. Fine. So when we started the presentation, we talked about big data. We talked about migration of different services to the cloud environment. Now we are, because not every application, the real life application would be actually a big data. Fine. Fine. Like if I'm talking about home automation, the home automation data, when it is a required thing, or if there is an alarming situation, rather than waiting for my data to go on cloud, fine, the action or machine learning decision has to be happen at the place where data resides. So where data is residing, at the infrastructure where the, you can say, the IoT systems or the different sensors are being applied. So the concept of edge computing says that computation at the place where the data is being collected, where is the source of data. Now the data scientists are saying that when we are having the concept of edge computing, why not applying machine learning at the infrastructure itself? Why to go for cloud? Now, why we required cloud for the big data applications? Because the machine learning algorithms which are required to execute on those data is also huge, fine, which can be only hosted on the cloud environment. But the applications like this kind of application, it doesn't need huge machine learning applications or the algorithm. A small machine learning algorithm can be executed at the point of the hardware or the infrastructure where the actually data is collected. So the concept is known as edge intelligence or TinyML. To understand this concept, again, I'll show you a very small video of 2 minutes. Let me just share my screen.
कल क्या किया था handshake?
I hope this video is visible and audible.
Do you know what happens when you say, okay,
Yes, ma'am.
Google? TinyML or tiny machine learning is one of the fastest growing fields of machine learning. It sits right at the intersection of embedded systems, algorithms, and computing hardware. TinyML is all about on-device machine learning right at the endpoint where the data resides, and it is fundamentally different from running machine learning in big data centers or in the cloud. You already know and take for granted some existing applications with TinyML. For instance, when you say, hey Siri, okay Google, or hey Alexa, you're seeing TinyML in action. But those applications are just the tip of the iceberg. TinyML has many different use cases ranging from smart home appliances to medical devices, and it has applications even in wildlife conservation. We're just beginning to explore the full capabilities of TinyML. Imagine what we could do if there were smart, ideally biodegradable machine learning sensors everywhere. Is TinyML important? TinyML plays a significant role in connecting the IoT devices and machine learning community. The technology can change how IoT devices interact and process the data. Traditionally, the IoT devices sent the data to the cloud, where the hosted machine learning models make inferences and provide insights. With TinyML, it is possible to deploy machine learning models on IoT devices to get inference and insight without sending data to the cloud application. Are 5 potential applications of TinyML voice commands. Smartphones actively listen to wake words like hey Google or hey Siri. Not surprisingly, the models that detect wake words are not run on the usual mobile CPU, as it consumes lots of power and quickly drains the battery with continuous use. Instead, with TinyML, these models are run on specialized low-power hardware inside the smartphone, which can run regularly and consume very little energy. High-quality imagery. Microsatellite applications can produce high-quality images and transfer them to Earth. These satellites feature fixed storage and can save a limited number of pictures. TinyML can help to capture pictures only when an object of interest is in site equipment maintenance. In manufacturing companies, TinyML can help to avoid downtime due to equipment failure by alerting technicians when equipment conditions go wrong as part of preventive maintenance. Monitor retail stock in retail stores. TinyML can help to monitor the stock of the products on shelves and send alerts when it's low. This helps businesses manage their inventory, satisfy their customers.
I hope this is clear that how rather than hosting the applications on the cloud and on for big data, the other side, there are tremendous other applications, right, which can be executed at small scale, and we don't need huge machine learning algorithms for them. So the TinyML is the alternative for those things. So this is another trend which will be going on for the, I can say that, endless of the applications. Fine, so let us go back to the presentation. And the last use case that I want to share for today is, can you see the deepfakes and the generative AIs and the synthetic data on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
And I think I don't no need to give the introduction of this personality, fine. So the Tom Cruise, fine. So March 9, 2021, fine. People were shocked that the Tom Cruise is doing some tricks on the TikTok application, and actually it was found that it is the deep fake video of the Tom Cruise, and it was later acknowledged, fine. So this is somewhere the issue of ethics also, and privacy of a user also. So there are other issues also, but on the other side, fine, this technology is also known as generative AI, and it creates synthetic, it can be used to create synthetic data. So rather than using it for the worse, it can be used in a positive way. How it can be used for a positive way? So in 2021, fine. So when we are using synthetic data, we can use a new data for training, fine, other machine learning algorithms. Like synthetic faces means it can be able to create new faces which are not existing earlier, similar to any human being. So synthetic faces of the people who have never existed can be created to train the facial recognition algorithms while avoiding the privacy concerns involved in using real people faces, fine. So that is one benefit. So, and it can also be created to create a image recognition system to spot signs of very rare or infrequently photographed cancers in the medical images. So synthetic data is also used for simulation purpose in medical domain for cancer related diseases and other life-threatening diseases also. So, and it also can be used to create language to image capabilities, fine, allowing the, for example, an architect to produce the concept of images of a building simply by describing how it will look like. So the person just describe the thing, and the you can say the synthetic data, and with the generative AI, you will be able to see that image in front of you. So with the time constraint, I am just sharing this link with you, and you can just go to this link. I'll share this link. Okay, right now I'm not able to copy this link. Okay, so you can just write about the deep fake video of Tom Cruise. You will be able to see the video. So here you can see that how the image of a person, a photograph of a person can be used to create a fake video. But on the other side, rather than using the negative side, it can be used for synthetic data generation, and it can be used in the different business applications. So dear learners, that's all from my side from on today session on what are the various data science trends that are going to be there in next 3 to 5 years, because the world is so uncertain, right? These technologies are evolving, they are giving challenges, and these challenges are posing opportunities, and from these opportunities the new trends are coming out. So maybe so at least these trends of, say, cloud solutions, the TinyML, deep fakes, right, and data fabric is going to be there for a long run. Fine. So these are the trends, and I hope if you have any queries, I am open for the queries.
Well, ma'am, there are a few queries though. One of the questions that intrigued me in the chat box, basically, one learner actually has asked if chat box are also a part of the TinyML process, because I believe, a lot of companies today are using chat box to their benefit.
Yes, it is the part of natural language processing, sir, because if you just open any banking website or you just go to any e-learning portal or any XYZ portal, fine. So they have a chatbot and they have a very nice name for the chatbot also. And they just, the names are just quite similar to human beings. So as soon as I will log in to HDFC Bank site, so I'll come up with a chatbot saying I'm XYZ, how I can assist you. And it will propose you different services. Sorry.
Right.
So this is also a part of data science, and it is specifically comes under the natural language processing. Yes.
Right, lovely. Ma'am, most of our learners are actually intrigued because they belong to different, domains. Maybe it could be human resource or maybe marketing and everything.
Yes.
So how can they utilize this in their respective domains is one of the
Yes, I
questions
could
that was
see.
asked.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for asking this query. And I could see in the queries that Mr. Shubham has asked that how one should grow his career in healthcare or any other domain. So actually, the healthcare services are in extremely. They are nowadays using, even the expert doctors are using this artificial intelligence or robotic services in the precisions of their surgery, not only into identifying a disease, fine, in the you can say prescription, not only for identifying that a person is having a specific disease or not, in other domains like when the different surgeries are being done, fine. So, and understanding the patient behavior also, what is the patient progress under a specific medication. Under different domains, this machine learning is being used. So once, if someone wants to get into that professions, I had seen someone is talking about a financial domain. For any domain, first of all, data science is an interdisciplinary, you can say, the topic, fine. Obviously, it is not a subject which is isolated from the other things. It is an interdisciplinary domain. It can be applied to any application in this world. Either it is healthcare, either it is education, either it is banking, either it is agriculture, fine. So for at initial level, what one can do, they can start learning about, fine, what is actually data, what is structured data, differentiating between structured and unstructured data, because the requirement, the analysis, the disease, the algorithms that are applied on the both the data that we have is different. It is different for structured and unstructured data algorithm. And most of the data, as I told you, is 80% of the data that is being generated by all of us. Like if this video recording is going on, it is unstructured data, fine. It is not having any specific rows and columns. Someone has to get the insights from this data, fine. So the data is 80% of the data is unstructured, and someone who is in the from a specific domain, suppose someone is from the financial domain, fine, they have to understand that what are the different sources of data, fine, and then they can learn about different algorithms. Like there are 3 types of algorithm, like supervised algorithms, which are applied when you have some data in hand, historical data, some evidences are there, fine. But if you are into a domain of marketing, like if you have to predict that how many users are there for Netflix and what recommendation should be given to a specific user, you don't know anything about the user and you have some data of logs of that user of last 1 month, then what you will be doing here, because no historical evidences are there. So this is unsupervised learning. So here you have to categorize the nature of the problem, like either the problem will come under supervised learning or unsupervised learning, whether the appropriate data is available for that. So here domain specific, different domains can go for either it is medical image processing or either it is you can say financial domain or either it is marketing domain. Fine, you can start working on data science from the beginning. First of all, you just can understand what are the various forms of data, what are the different forms of learning, supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and then you can try applying some specific algorithms under supervised or unsupervised learning and try to analyze your data algorithms. So initially you can use the reporting tools like Tableau or Power BI for data, you can say storytelling, fine. And but if you want to apply machine learning, then you have to opt for the tools like auto AI tools you can use if you don't want to go for more programming. Then you can use Beka also as a tool for non-programmer where you can apply machine learning algorithms over the data. But if you are a keen researcher and you are okay with the programming, then you can go for Python or R environment. They are very user-friendly languages. You can try R or learning Python for applying data science algorithms over your data.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'd have loved to, see you talk more, but I believe you also have a health constraint. But we also have a time constraint along with that. With this, I'd like to actually thank you so much for this session and the information that you've provided us. With this, I'd also like to thank all the key people within the organization. I would like to thank Dr. P.D. Patil sir for making sure that this session could happen. Likewise, I'd like to say thanks to our Pro-Chancellor, Dr. Padmashri Patil ma'am, our Vice-Chancellor sir, Dr. N.J. Pawar sir, Dr. Smita Zadav ma'am, and I would also not like to leave behind our very own director, Dr. Safia Farooqui as well. So thank you all so much for making sure that these sessions come to us live and our learners can pick up information on data sciences and how machine learning is becoming such big, how artificial intelligence is picking up. We are using so much data and so much information around us, and all of this is being catered to us with our personalized experiences. So thank you so much, ma'am. It was indeed a pleasure listening to you today.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to thank the esteemed university, the D.Y. Patil University, and the Center of Online Education for providing me this opportunity to share my experience and expertise with all the dignitaries and the students and faculties who were present, and how I cannot say thanks to Dr. Safia. And I could see the dignitaries, Professor Yogesh Jogre is also there. And I must like to thank the persons who were behind the show, Professor Sandeep, Mr. Ajit Dubey, Dr. Mr. Prasad, and I cannot leave you, sir, Sohail sir, because from the very beginning, from the coordination of this session till this last moment, you have helped me to sailing smooth through this session. So thank you for your support, and I'm looking forward for similar kind of cooperation from your side. Thank you,
Indeed,
students,
thank you
for
so
the
much,
wonderful
ma'am.
comments and compliments also. Yeah.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, good day.